to Caprock Writers Illustrators Alliance November meeting. I am very sorry my voice sounds like this. I do not have COVID. I've taken 2 tests. I just sound horrible. I feel good. And I'm here. I have missed several meetings, and I'm sorry, but I am back. Here I am. We are so excited to have Jodi Thomas here today. It is a great honor. I have waited about 15 months to have her come because I talked to her about that long ago, asking her if she would join us. So we're thrilled to death. We do have a couple things we need to get through before we get to that point. So, can everyone hear me okay? I'm sorry, it's so squeaky. Anyway, we have drinks back there. We thank you to our hospitality chairman, Wayne Green, has done a nice job. There's coffee and waters and stuff, so help yourself. You can get up in the middle and get something to drink if you feel like it in the middle. We're going to lunch afterwards. This is a big crowd, so if you're planning on going, raise your hand and we'll call them ahead of time. We're going to Yo-Yo. Okay, Mathis, can you do a count? Can you call them? Yo-Yo is off Slide. Is that okay with you, Jodi? So, Japanese restaurant. Linda told me you like Asian food. Yo-Yo is on the corner of Slide and 82nd. There's a McDonald's there, but it's kind of tucked back a little bit, so please join us. Mathis has a thank you. Please join us. It's a great opportunity to chat. You guys are so obedient. One thing I want to interrupt our little introductions to bring in Natalie Bright. Can you stand up here next to me? Natalie has come all the way from Amarillo. She brought Jodi, so we're very thankful. Natalie has just won the gold medal at the Will Rogers Medallion. Let's give her a round. Keep them full, keep them rolling. I have them. I bought an early copy about a year and a half ago, so I'm very excited. But congratulations, we're so proud of you. Do you want to talk for a minute?
Oh, I can. Can everybody hear me?
Here, you
the Will Rogers Medallion Award was began for poetry in honor of Will Rogers. If you have, and it now has 19 categories. If you have anything Western related, contemporary or nonfiction, screenplay, I would encourage you to enter the contest. It's open now.
For those officers who were not out here in meetings, could you say
Okay. Yes. So Will Rogers Medallion Award was started as poetry in honor of Will Rogers, and it's organized with the family, and they really support it. It now has 19 categories: screenplay, poetry, nonfiction, contemporary, anything to do with the West, that promotes the West. And I encourage you to enter. It's open now. And it's Will Rogers Medallion Award is the website. And I think it's a $45 fee per title. And you mail 5 copies of your book, $45 with 2, and then you have a form that you fill out. So I would encourage you, they have a huge award show in Fort Worth. We had people from all over. We had a man from Israel who flew in to accept an award for his nonfiction book. So anyway, I encourage you to enter. Thank you.
The other people who we've had present here and are connected to an organization that have won, Barbara Brannon, she won for Western Mystery. She got the Copper Award. Max McNabb got a Western Fiction Modern. He got the Bronze Award. S.J. Dahlstrom, who's Western Fiction Young Readers, has won the Silver. So congratulations to them as well. We've had them speak, at least 2 of us go, so yay, good luck. Okay, so our next meeting is December 10th, 10 a.m. right here. We're having a holiday party. It's going to be an ugly sweater mystery party. It's also a bring your own buddy, a BYOD event. So if you're a member, bring a friend. If you're not a member, come anyway. We really want to open our doors and have you kind of see what we're all about. It should be fun. We're also doing the mystery book swap. So if you would like to bring one of your books or a book that's new, wrap it and put like a, Kim, how do we describe it? It's like a online dating, like a description of who it is. You want to
called. So we did it last year.
Yeah.
You wrap in a brown paper or, plain paper package and bring your book and swap for another book.
Right,
Like
so-
one day with
So it can be your own books, it can be someone else's. Wrap it in print like a brown paper, and then just put a little description. Don't tell us what the title is. We're just trying to see. It's like an online dating. I'm a Western and I'm humorous, and I have big sexy cowboys in it or something. So it's really fun. We had a lot of fun last year. So bring a book, take a book. It's just kind of something fun to share our work, share others' work. The other thing is that in your email, if you were a member, we're going to be voting on our new board, and I'll be calling Fallon up in a second when I'm done with my other spiel to talk about what our board looks like next year, and then we'll have a vote. So look for that email next week from Caprock. And so the other thing that happened since I was here last is that we published an anthology. This beautiful baby right here is published. It's our second anthology, and I would like to call every person who is in here up front. Everyone that entered, please come on up here. I didn't tell you about this, but we'll do it anyway. There's several people who are in it who are also not here, but I'm very excited. Look at all these folks. This is talent right here. Let's give them a round of applause. I am so proud of these folks. If you are a brand new published writer, this is the first time you're published, raise your hand. Look what we've got. You guys do it. Congratulations. The rest of you, I know it's great you're published again, but these two folks, this is the first time they've ever had anything published. Isn't that amazing? We did that. Caprock helped them. This is what your membership does, is it allows us to give people the chance to publish their work. And you can read their stories right here, all of these folks. So thank you all. I would love for all of you to sign the books we have left. I want to get a copy of all of it signed from you all, and I'm sure the other folks here do too. So we have some in the back, we'll probably run out, but I'll bring them back in December.
Why?
Oh, we sold them. Okay, December meeting. Please, all of you folks come. I want you to sign this one. I'm going to buy two because the guy who did the covers for me, I'm going to give him one. Mathis, what were you going to say?
We just have one left back here, but other people in this room have bought them, so make sure
Yes,
that
sign the
y'all
copies.
get them
Grab
to
these
sign.
folks and get them to
Yeah.
sign it. I'm going to hand it to Vera to sign mine,
Yeah.
and I'll buy it. But we'll bring copies. You can also buy it on Amazon. Just look under Never Say Never, Caprock Writers Alliance, and you'll find it if you search that. We'll also put a link. There's a link on our website, and there's a link in our next newsletter. We're very excited that this happened. So one more round of applause for these amazing folks. How are you sitting down?
Pause.
All right. They're $10 if you buy from us. They're $11.99 if you go to Amazon. So we'll have some more for our next meeting. Please think about buying them holiday gifts or just for your own reading. Thank you guys. You can all sit down. Isn't that exciting? We're so excited that that happened. Now there was one little thing. I owe all of you an apology. We made a mistake. I'm sorry, it happened. These things happen. We had two different chairs for the anthology, and a lot of, effort went into keeping them, but neither of them stayed. So I thought I was the coach. I was the one with the football trying to run to the end zone in time for the book festival. But one of the things that we missed in the process is that we didn't communicate very well. We originally said, Never Say Never should be the first line. And then when our new second chairman, Steve, came along, who ended up getting COVID and is still kind of sick, he's got long COVID, so pray for him if you're a praying person. We changed the rules a little bit and said it can be in the first paragraph. So there's a few people that are not happy because we changed the rules and maybe we didn't communicate them very well, so I apologize. I humbly apologize. If you're mad, come after and yell at me. I can handle it. I'm sorry. Things happen. I'm just going to do it. Okay. Okay, so now we get to talk about, I know we're all waiting to hear Jodi, but give us another few minutes. We're very excited about that. But I have Fallon. Kim?
Pardon? Or we can jump to this.
Oh yeah, Kim, you want to talk about our next meeting? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So Fallon's gonna talk about our next board, but Kim's gonna tell us about the December meeting.
Good morning everybody. I'm so excited to see this big group here because we have this dignitary here. It's just, we were talking earlier about this year. It's been such a crazy year. It's been, there have been multiple challenges, and I'm just so grateful for this beautiful day and these beautiful people here and these beautiful words that we're creating. And I'm just thankful that we have survived. We're born in COVID times, and we're still here, and we're still growing, and it's just very exciting. So, we're going to celebrate in December. If you were here last year, we had a murder mystery Christmas themed party that was written by Dan, and it was so much fun. We had such a good time, and so we want to do that again. Dan was like, that was a lot of work, and I don't want to do that again. So we have bought one. so it is Ugly Christmas Sweater Party theme. So please wear your ugly Christmas sweater and come prepared to interact. We have, everybody will have a part, and it's going to be so much fun. And looking forward to 2023, I just kind of wanted to give a heads up. I have this all in my phone, so I'm not checking Twitter while I'm up here. In January, we're going to have Lauren Castle Brownell, I think is how to say the name. She is a local author, a mystery author. She's written a book called Dying to Donate, and it is published by Wildlife Books. So she's going to be speaking in January, and she's very charming, and I know that you're going to enjoy hearing from her. We also have tentatively scheduled for 2023, we have Rick Treon, who's an Amarillo author and with Blue Handle Publishing, so he's a suspense author and publisher. And Reese and John Triggs, also from Amarillo, who are, they have the cutest, most charming little children's book that they have written and illustrated, and it's just freaking adorable. And we have others kind of lined up, so it's going to be a great year, so come back. So we will see you in December with your other Christmas sweaters and ready to have a good time.
Okay, next, bear with us. We are so excited to have an amazing board coming up for 2023. Fallon is our nomination chairman, a nomination committee, and he's going to do a little fun exercise to announce, and we are taking nominations from the floor, so if any of you want to be in on the fun of our board and running this amazing organization, now is your chance. And next week, remember, look for an email from us so that members can vote on who they want to be, and we'll put those through. And December meeting, you'll find out who's in there.
All righty. I'm just going to skip the mic. I'm an actor, so I think if you can hear me. All right. If you've ever thought about helping out in this organization, as Linda wisely says, you get the most out of what you put into it. She probably said it better than that. But I got this chart here that helps to start to show us what the key positions are. The way the organization operates is that the key officer positions are for a 2-year position, and the ones that are currently shown here, except for the way the president-elect works, I guess I'll explain that. The president and president-elect are 1-year positions because if you're president-elect, it's assumed that you'll be president next year. This is meant to represent the 2023 slate. So next year, Linda, who's our president-elect, becomes president. 1-year term, 1-year term. The others are in a 2-year term, except the secretary, which serves at the behest of the president. KJ had asked me to do that this year, and it sounds like you want me to do it for the next year. Okay. I just wanted to consult my magic 8 ball on that. It says try again. Let's check it one more time. Oh, signs point to yes. I think we're going to be okay. So, alrighty. I got me penciled in there, but just in case, I figured we could write over it. Alright. So I'm going to post this up here, and we're going to talk through the positions that are still open. there have been some nominations that have come through outside of this forum, which is also okay, because the secretary, I lead the nominating committee, and we talk to people and get agent interest and make sure we're meeting the needs of the organization. So, let's go through some of the other positions real quick and see what is happening. Of course, I guess you understand the president cheerleads and pulls us all together. The secretary does some of the paperwork and keeps track of the records. Programs schedules all these wonderful things like we do here. And man, that's a lot of challenging fun. Treasurer keeps track of our finances. Hospitality, Wynn is our super good well, picture taker right now, but also, welcoming agent, and we all help with that. As we go through the rest of these, the president-elect, again, is to facilitate and assist the president in driving the organization. And here's a couple of others that are not yet full. So I'd like to explain those as we go through them. And a really important thing, please consider, like Linda says, you get out of it what you put into it. You are not alone. We'll make sure that whoever's in the role now has some sort of handoff for you before the new year begins. And there's a lot of opportunity to be creative and collaborate together. For example, if you had an interest in running the contest and anthology area function, you don't have to run the anthology, judge the anthology, type the anthology, send it to the printer. You work instead with us and others in the group to coordinate and divvy up the roles so that we work together. So nobody should feel, overly overwhelmed by any one area. I think the group's really good and collaborative to help us all. But somebody has to take ownership, and that's how that works. So the first one I'd like to open up is social media and publicity. There has already been a nomination for that, which is Sterling Channing. So awesome. Would anyone else like to nominate? Part of the rules on nominating is the person has to be here or has to commit it in writing to serve in the position. So you can self-nominate, turn to your neighbor. Is anyone else interested in participating in social media and publicity? I would say the ayes have it, Sterling. All those claps were for you. So we will say Sterling is officially our social media.
We still have to vote on it.
Oh, we still have to vote. Do we vote here now?
We'll vote in an email so that the members who are not present will be able to vote.
I didn't realize it was by email.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be
I
by
was
email.
perfect. Okay, great. So we think it's you, sir. And we're grateful.
We're very excited.
All right. Contest and anthology. I don't have a clear name to put before you right now for that one. Do you have suggestions or want to nominate anyone here? We can also work on that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When are you thinking your next anthology will be?
I'll answer that.
Please.
When we have a chairman who wants to.
Okay.
So a lot of that's not a pressure like, oh my, here it comes. Again, we get to shape and time this and figure it out.
Okay.
So, are you thinking because you might want to serve or because you might want to write something for it?
Well, both, but I cannot right now, if we're going to have an anthology next summer, I cannot for at least 2 years, but, I would love to
Okay.
at some point.
Okay. It's a good question. So for now, I think that contest and anthology is going to go open. Very good. And I'm just going to keep going down. These are not in a particular order of importance. I tried to group them a little bit because I thought communication about social media and newsletter stuff kind of went together, website and tech support kind of went together, but it is what it is. Newsletter, let's come back to that one at the end. President-elect, we've got hospitality, we've got events, this is called events and workshops.
We do have to talk about president-elect because it should be open to the floor just in case.
Yes, I see.
Talk about who's
Yes, my apologies. Same thing as with Sterling. Okay. So, President-elect, the duties are essentially serving on the board for 1 year before taking office as president, serves as an assistant to the president, and has responsibilities for overseeing different parts of the activity, potentially including some of the finances or fundraising. Anything else? You know, you're a problem solver. That's what we're looking for. A nomination has come forth that our very own DK could become president-elect. So that's an option. If you want to raise your hand or stand up. But again, we can open right now as part of the meeting and say, would anyone like to nominate themselves or someone else for that role? And then again, we'll follow up through the email for the official tally on the vote. Anybody else? Okay, I think you're on the slate, and we'll make sure that goes out. That's awesome.
Thank you, BK.
Thanks for correcting me there. Events and workshops. So events works in concert with programs in case there's something unique and special that we want to do. It could be participating in the community. It could be a special critique group or something, again, with other writers. There's lots of options around doing events and workshops. Specifically, let's see what else I've got here.
It would be things like the book festival, the spring, we had the spring art festival, things like that, to help us bring those two events together. Anything else, if you're creative and you have other ideas, we're open to whatever.
Awesome. So far it has come to us, it's been nominated that Vera could be our events person for this coming year. So again, yay for Vera. But we also want to see, does anyone else have a strong interest or know someone here that would be good in that capacity they'd like to nominate?
And I think Vera has asked to have a co-chair, so she's very open to
Yeah.
collaborative help. So it'll be easier when we'll have a co-conspirator.
Anybody want to be her right hand? Right hand? Okay. All right, so there's not a no.
No, I was going to say, not just that, partly because I'm new to Lubbock, and I'm barely discovering like which neighborhood I want to live in, so I could use a co-chair and just saying, hey, the art festival happens this time, so let's make sure we plan for that, or what else is happening, what are some of the, kind of coffee houses that we might do an event with, that kind of thing, because I'm very green with how Lubbock has.
But she's entrepreneurial and has a go-getter spirit to help us do some new fun stuff. So, okay. So anyway, if you're interested, talk to Vera and say you might want to help her out. Again, we'll put that up to your vote through the email, but right now you are on the docket. Membership. Membership helps to do some of the role that Mathis has been doing for us, which is awesome. Helping make sure if who is coming and going, making sure that we're keeping track and we're recruiting new members to grow the organization, keep an accurate list of members, checking in if somebody's going to lapse, those kind of things. Has anybody got a real passion for that?
Is there much to it besides being here to meet and sign people in?
Mathis, what do you say to that?
You just have to keep the document updated for who's paid and who's due. And then whenever we meet here, you mark off who is actually here that has paid, so you know that they're coming.
Yeah, I can help with that.
Can you help with that? Very good. So Bradley will assist us with membership. Awesome. We will pencil you into that slot, brother. That's good. Website. All right. Website takes a unique skill set, and it's important because it represents how we are outside to the community and the world. And does anybody have technical design, website population skills that is just can't wait to do that activity? All right, well I have to tell you that our very own treasurer has roped in a nomination. I see her pointing back at her right now. She has nominated Opera, her husband, who, sir, you do some technical stuff for a living or just for fun?
Well, most of it, the website design. I actually went to school for graphic Well, digital art, animation, that sort of thing. Ran our website for the Bicycle Association for 2 years? Before we finally got somebody to volunteer and help us out there. So,
Well, sounds like you got the right skill set. So with no other nominations coming forward to the meeting, we'll put your name on the docket for that. And send that out to you. Very good. Tech support. Tech support can involve, coming in a minute early to the meeting and making sure this thing's working. It could, if you wanted, involve videoing the meetings. Right now, that's more of a historian combined capacity, but it could evolve to that. Anybody interested in nominating on the tech support front? I was unable to find the right people beforehand. Or if you know somebody, but in theory, they should be here to be able to know they're nominated. Jodi's too busy. She can't do it all. All right. Well, at the sake of time, since I'm seeing not a big set of hands on that one, we'll keep looking into that. It's not as complicated as it could be because, as you know, we are recording the meetings to post to the website for members, but we're no longer trying to broadcast them on Zoom. It was really too challenging to get the audio to work right. So I don't feel like there's this heavy lift there. But it's something we could still use some help with if somebody had, a few minutes or a couple hours a month to make sure we're working. And the last one down here again, last but not least, the newsletter, like the website, is our voice to the world, the voice to the community, our voice to each other. It's about, inspiring us and connecting with us every single month. As writers, that part of it might come pretty easy to us. It does also involve a mailing program to make sure we all get the darn emails. So that can take just a little bit of extra work. Does anybody have a passion or interest in overseeing some messaging and getting those messages out every month?
Dead silence.
Dead silence. All right, well, in the interest of time, we are having a nomination. Right now, I'm nominating KJ as a person to help us with that. Also part of the community, we can change roles, we can help each other, and we may not even be in a role, but we can help Vera or others. Anthology. So, do you mind being on the nomination for that officially? Great. So that covers the newsletter, and this will get filled out as we officially decide those through the email process. And like I said, don't feel shy about saying, hey, I saw you got signed up for this, can I help in some way? I'm sure, Sterling would be open-minded about things for publicity, just like content for the newsletter or other activities. So I think that covers what we need.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Fallon. I appreciate
Hello, it's good to see you all, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. Maybe not next year, who knows? I need to ask the 8-ball if I should take this. But I'm excited. Y'all are a great group of people, and love you all. I'm excited today to have Jodi Thomas here. And also she brought Natalie and Bruce Edwards. Bruce writes under Michael David, and he published his first book, or maybe the second. Anyway, he has a new book out called Psionic, and it is absolutely wonderful. And if you're into horror or fantasy or that kind of stuff, you need to see him. He scares us sometimes when we critique, because he comes up with some really scary stuff. So, Jodi published her first book in 1988, and that was Beneath the Texas Sky. I met her shortly after, I think in '92, and we've been friends ever since. She's just a kindred spirit, and we love the same things and the same type of books, and she's taught me a lot in this writing journey. She has published over 60 books and short stories. She's won 5 RITA awards, which is a very prestigious award that is given by the Romance Writers of America. And that's a sign of excellence. And so she's won 5 of those. She was the 11th writer to be inducted into the Romance Writers Hall of Fame. And in 2002, she was honored as a distinguished alumni by Texas Tech. She loves the school and attended there and graduated and barely. She really wanted a Corvette instead of going to college. She also served as writer in residence at West Texas A&M in Canyon, Texas. And she served in that position for many years and helped so many students write their stories and answer questions, try to direct them on a path. So she is just, she's always wanting to help writers. She wants everybody to be published, and so do I. It's so great, and we want everybody to join us. Last month, she was inducted into the Texas Writers Hall of Fame at Texas Christian University in Dallas, and so that was just last month. Everything's still rolling in. All the awards and accolades, she deserves them all. She really does. She's very hardworking, and I love her. We're very good friends. So please welcome Jodi Thomas.
Hello. I will run into this. Hi, everybody. First I have to apologize. The last time I spoke to this group, there were 8. So I brought 25 of the things I passed out, the tripos. And if you've already seen one, or you know how to get another one, or you don't want it, pass it back. Because people on the back row didn't get one. So this one shows you some of what I've written. And what you're seeing is the book that just came out. And I do this probably once a year. And to propose, what I want to do is help writers that are starting. And so sometimes they hit the New York Times. So a writer that wrote a short story becomes in the New York Times. So that's fun. And sometimes I do that, sometimes I just want to write a short story. It's easier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my life and my journey, and then I'm going to leave the last part for questions. And so you can see a writer's journey. Right now I am working on a book with 2 of my college interns, and we are putting together a book called Rare Air. The reason we're doing Rare Air is it's the journey of a writer and how to live your life and not crack up as a writer. So it really, I think it will be helpful to beginning writers. The reason I call it rare air is I went one time to a charity thing, you know, one of those times where you pay $50 for a salad and somebody's talking, and so I thought that'd be nice. And it was a writer, and I didn't know this writer. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to this luncheon. So I paid my money for something and got in. When they called her to the mic, she said, the minute they said they wanted me to come speak in Amarillo, I said yes, because Jodi Thomas lives in Amarillo, and it must be rare air indeed. And I think we all understand that because we live in rare air. Most of your family and friends will not understand you. Why you can't stop in the middle of the day and go shopping, you know, or whatever you're doing. And I get that all the time. So, and I've been in the game 40 years. And so I want to kind of help you maybe over some, no matter where you're at and where you are at. And maybe that'll help. I want to start by telling you that when I was about 4, I thought my name was, something's weird about that one, because it's all my dad called me. Every once in a while he'd yell, Sally, something's weird about this one. And I don't know why. My only memory of why my father kind of thought that is when I was 4, 5, 6, I loved monsters, werewolves, all that. Of course, my big brother told me stories about it all the time. And he told me that if you hold up raw meat, when a vampire is sleeping, he will snap at it. So I thought that was pretty good. So I went and got a piece of bacon, and my dad was asleep on the couch, and I held it up with him. A few minutes later, he opened one eye, and he yelled, Sally, something's wrong with it. That's all. He closed his eyes and didn't say another word. And I think that was the first hint that maybe I was crazy, but I don't know. But I had that need to tell stories and the need to live in stories. And some of y'all are that like. And it gets to the point. How many of you have been in this game 10 years? Oh, very good. 10 years is about the time that you realize you can't stand to be around anybody that isn't a writer or an artist, because normal people drive you crazy. You know, they spend 30 minutes talking about the spaghetti. I don't care. You know, I spent an hour dinner party talking about how to get stains out of the carpet. I don't care. And you get where you can't talk to normal people. How many are you there? Oh, good. You know, so now I had a little problem. I didn't think I didn't do well in school. In fact, when they put me in the Hall of Fame of Caprock High School, they said, we have never had a person graduate in the bottom half of the class be named distinguished. And I thought about that, and I thought, oh, wow, I'm so lucky. I was busy during high school doing other things, thinking about other things. And my mother cried when I graduated from high school. She didn't think I'd ever make it. And when I came to Tech, I had to pay for my education, and I was never off Dean's Road all the way through. I was 9 hours away from graduating with a PhD in counseling, and I started writing a romance. And I went up to my professor and I said, I think I want to write a book. And he said, well, not everybody is made to be a counselor. And 4 years later, whenever I was signing books, he bought a dozen. He said, I'm going to pass them out to my class because everybody's not made to be a counselor. And I never stopped once I started that first book, writing. It took me 5 years to sell it. Finally, when I sold because I went to a conference, met an editor and talked to her for 5 minutes. And she said, how fast can you get it to me? Because the book was about Texas, and she wanted it. In probably 80 contracts I've signed since then, I never been turned down. So I'm lucky. Now, when with my third work, I actually won a RITA as she was selling the highest. There were about 3,000 editors, writers, agents, including my agent, my editor were there. And when they handed it to me, I just cried because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I went and I did. It was. I still don't believe it, I guess. And as I kept getting them, I couldn't figure out because I can't spell. Commas are dropped from aliens just above us. And I just don't know. But what I can do is I can write people. I don't even call them characters. I can write people. And I work on it, and I guess that's my talent. But it's really, 7 years later, when I was put in the Hall of Fame at RWA, same place, same 3,000 people. I was really shocked there, really shocked. And I stood there. I had won another RITA too. So I was holding 2 statues, and I looked out and I realized all these people didn't know that I was dyslexic. No one knew I was dyslexic, including my, please, including my teachers in school. I had to take classes at Tech to figure out what was wrong with me. Now, I think I'm blessed. I have 2 grandchildren that are dyslexic, and in my family, we see it as a gift, and it really is, because we have to figure everything out a different way than a normal person does. So, but and dyslexics, I don't know if anybody is here. I didn't tell anybody until I won the award, because I didn't want to be thought of as someone with a handicap that was doing something. So I did not tell anybody. Over the years, I've written, I've grown, and I was originally a teacher, and I still am a teacher. I see myself as a teacher. And I've loved this. So I don't know. People say, when are you going to quit? I don't know. When I'll die, I guess. I don't know. I'm never going to quit. Now, and Texas has always been my playground, and I keep it that way. And as the years went by, I've written 8 series, and they're all set in Texas. I've written a lot of standalone series. And 3 years ago, a man called and he said, I'm a producer and I would like to talk to you, but first I'm going to read your entire body of work. And I went, what? That's going to take you a long time. And I said, do you want me to send you books? And he said, no, I'll buy them. I said, okay, that's even better. And so 6 or 8 months later, he called again and introduced himself again. I didn't remember him. And we talked a while. 3 months after that, he called again and again. And about 2 years, he called and he said, he's a producer in LA, and he said, Netflix just stepped in, and I sold a series, Ransom Canyon, to Netflix, and it's going to be the lead new series coming out this fall. So that's pretty cool. When he called and told me it was green lighted, I didn't know what that means. I've never, but I thought, green light, there must be, it's a go. It meant the money's going out. So it's, the reason I wanted to tell you that before I started to talk about writing was, if you have any questions, I'm going to leave some time at the end and I'll answer any questions. Because back in every writer's imagination, we think someday we want to sell a movie. And so I'll answer any questions that I need to. And I want to. But I wanted to show you what was going on. Do I have a question right now? Does anybody have something? No?
Yeah, I do actually. Did they give you any control over the script?
No, that sold it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I asked, and he said, is there anything you do not want? And I said, there's a few words I don't want in there. And I checked him out. I watched all his movies, and he doesn't use the F word, and he doesn't use profanity. Now they're calling it my series a cross between Virgin River and Yellowstone. And it's not going to be as hard as, but it's a little more gritty than Virgin River. So I'm kind of happy about that. So it kind of works pretty good. Now the first thing I want, after I met hundreds of writers, I've been hundreds of writers at different levels, trying to sell to everything. And I kind of think of writers as this way. First of all, I think everybody in the world wants to write a book. If you say you're a writer, they start saying, well, I have this book I want to write. And then sometimes they'll say, it's really good, but I don't know how to write, so why don't you write it, and I'll tell you about it, and then we'll split the money. I don't know how little the money is. But I hear that all the time. But a lot of people that want to write, it's like they're hikers. They come to the bottom of a mountain and get ready. Some have nothing, they wear sandals, they didn't bring a water bottle, they didn't bring a stick, nothing. They're not prepared. They're going to fall off before they go 50 feet up the mountain. But for a minute, they think they want to be a writer. And they don't realize what you have to do to even start. The first time the summer I was teaching school, I went to the library and I checked out all the books that were on writing. I'd read a few, so I left them on the shelf, but I just collected them. and I read them, and you've got to do that, even the bad ones. And you've got to go through them. You've got to know the lingo. You've got to go the pacing. You've got to go everything how to do it. Now, you can go to writing academies all over the United States, and they'll tell you how to do it. But you got to find your own way. It won't be in a book. It may be writing between breaks at work. It may, or it may be writing all night. I remember when I was starting, I had 2 little boys, and I was teaching school, so I had homework every night to do. And I was also volunteering as a counselor at RITA crisis. So I had a lot to do. I was on a lot on my plate. And I just didn't have enough time. And my husband, Tom, said, "What can I do to help?" And I said, "If I just had an hour, if I just had 1 hour." And he said, "Okay, I'll put the kids to bed. I'll get up with them. I'll do the dishes. You take from 9 to 10. Now, it was never 9 to 10 because he watched the news, so I went on to 10:30. And then sometimes he'd fall asleep in his chair, and I'd be in there writing. And that hour made all the difference. Because I thought about it all day, and I knew what I was going to do, and I worked. And so I was going till 10:30, 11:30. Then I heard something strange, and I realized I had written all right. It was the alarm clock. So again and again I have. If you're a teacher, anybody here a teacher? Those days when you haven't slept, they're called film days. Sit back there like a show film. You like this? Or 2. Put it in. And so that gave me a start. And whenever I finally made enough money to quit teaching, I expected I'd write 5 times as fast, but I didn't. I wrote about the same amount. I didn't write all day, so I kind of worked that way. One night, I remember that Tom got out of bed, built on a little bitty study, and he went in and he opened the door, and it was late at night, and he said, "What are you laughing about?" He said, "You woke me up laughing." And I said, "Jason, who was one of my characters, told me a joke I hadn't heard." He just closed the door. I'm sure he was thinking what my father always about. But you have to want it so bad that you climb that mountain when you're tired and beat and hurting and got the flu and everything else. You keep going. It's not close off the world and write. You let the world come in. That's where your inspirations come from. You let them in, and then you write. And that's how it starts. And you're going to lose friends that aren't writers. You're going to lose relatives that aren't writers because they don't understand you. They can't go. Now, as you start up that hill, it's the hardest at the bottom because you're not in shape, and you're going to start crying. Then people, if there are 100 people start at the bottom, probably half of them die by about halfway up. But the worst thing is most of them have learned to write. They've gone to the conference, read the books, they've practiced. They've learned to write, and they're dying off. I don't know why that is. It's like, well, I learned that, that's it, let's go on. And they fall off the mountain. Then, you've got about less than maybe half of the people, and they start up the last of the hill. And as they start, few got to go, they get interested in something else. They, get married or whatever, they give up writing. They may come back someday. Then you get to the timberline. There's nothing to stand to hold on at the timberline. Nothing. Before you could go and you could learn in groups. You could learn, you could read a book that was coming out, but all of a sudden there's nothing to hold on to. The bodies pile up right there, 10 feet from there. Some of you are there right today. You've done all you need to learn to write, but you're not pushing it anymore. You're tired of it. It's not even fun. You want to go play pickleball, whatever that is, and you just don't. You don't want to do it anymore. You're tired. It's not any fun. It was really fun when you had all your friends with you and you were all excited and you were having groups and you were going, to some conference every year. It was really fun. But now it's not, because it's you. It's just you. You can't hang on to anything. And I don't understand that, but a lot of people die there. But the few, maybe 3 out of 100, keep walking. And they make it to the top. And you have to ask yourself at some point, how far do you want to go? What's going to stop you? What's not going to stop you? I used to think that the writers that had the most talent made it, but it's not. It's not. It's the ones that try the hardest, push the hardest, stay up 1 more hour. They're the ones that make it. So, I approve of that. But so it's interesting. And then when you get there, you think, I'm lucky. I'm so lucky. I didn't read until the 4th grade. So I had 3 years to sit around and just daydream. It was great. And I liked it. So there are things that you think are hard, but they're not. They're actually helping you. And the fact that Tom did the dishes, all his life he did the dishes. And my sons both think that's a man's job. They do them every night. So that was nice. They both do. So when you start off, that's how you start. So one thing that really, really helps are groups like this. Great helps because you can exchange ideals, and it's important. Linda and I, what year did you say we got?
About 92, I think.
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah.
And I remember she lived in Wichita Falls, and she came in, and I just met her, and she came in, and she wanted to be a writer. And so I said, sit down next to me, because I wasn't selling any books. And somebody else came in about 15 minutes, and they said, I want to be a writer. And we started a writers club right there. So it kind of just, that's how it starts that way. When I began to teach writing, that was, I think I can teach you how to pick out the right tools. But I don't know if anybody can teach writing. So you can teach how to use the tools, but you got to use them. Yeah. And that's how it's. Now I want to answer some questions at different points. Anybody have any questions?
No, I do. I'll ask one. You have a fascinating story. I mean, we all put you on this great pedestal and you're this shining light, but yet you give us these humbling stories that give us hope. That, oh, well, wow, she's had these difficulties and look what she rose to. And so it gives us hope as writers, but at the same time, your story is so fascinating. Have you ever thought of writing a memoir, or do you have one out?
Rare air will be.
Okay, good.
It's almost 50,000 words now, and it's broken into seasons.
Okay.
And what you need to do in spring, summer, fall, and then in winter, what it's like to be a writer.
Okay.
And because obviously I'm in the winter. And when I started, I thought, I could, if I write a book, get it published, I could put 1 year my son's through college. And, I thought, that'd be good. Third book, I hit with the RITA, and I realized I just put them through college, push the money back, and then they go. So it's kind of, it's fun. It's a lifestyle that you have to do. I don't have hours. I don't know what day it is most of the time. Yes.
So 2 questions. One is, what's your writing schedule now? And are you a pantser or a plotter?
I think that's funny. I went. Some of my friends were getting awards at Oklahoma this spring in May at the OWFI, and I asked my youngest son. I said, "Do you want to go?" Because I want them to know what it's like to be a writer, and we don't talk about it around the house. And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, why don't you go Thursday, and I'll just come in Saturday so I can go to the banquet." And he said, "Okay." Then he runs out to the car when I get there Saturday, and he goes, "Mom, do you know what I've learned? This is unbelievable. There's 2 kinds of writers, planters and plotters." I said, "Son, I don't know." He never heard that. I should have told him something. But he's just starting to get into it, and I'm trying to stay out of it for him and let him walk his own journey. But he also found out, and he's talked about it since May, that how interesting writers are. And that's true. We are fascinated, aren't we? and he didn't know that. So now every chance he gets, "You want me to drive? I'll take you there," because he wants to go, because he likes writers. But no, I'm not at either one. I have charts on the board, and on the boards I have their names. I have odd little things about them and regular things, eye color and stuff like that. But I've tried to plot it out, and I can't, because my characters get a say, and they never go where I want them to go. They're usually more frisky than I am. They do a lot of fun things. That's how I do it. I put it on boards that I've never, and it makes me mad. Once I'm all full and I'm writing, I don't look at the boards. Then you finish your book, you realize it's got 3 colors eyes, and different colors eyes in 3 different spots and stuff like that, so it doesn't work. But I guess my routine is pretty much all the time. I have time to write, but I get up in the morning and do the business of writing, I have 2 girls that come into my office that pretty much just answer emails and fan mail and stuff like that. And they come in Monday and Friday, and they work on that in the morning. They both have masters in English, but they want to be writers. And then in the afternoon, I come home and just relax for maybe an hour or 2, and then I go to work. And I work till scene is finished, so sometimes half a lot done. And I get real involved in my book when I'm writing. For 10 or 15 years, I wrote one a year. And then I thought, well, I can write two. You know, I'll shorten a little bit, and I'll write two. And I've had an argument with my agent that she wants me to write 3. I don't think I can do it. That's a lot. Yeah. But my characters I just take them, start them on a journey and see where they go. And so I never know the end of the book. And once I write it, the book's over. I don't ever read it again. I've never opened a published book and read it. Once in a while, I have to open one to see who the characters were. But that's kind of
Your scenes that you write are really great and realistic. Would you talk just a little bit about walking the land and how you really take a good look to see what it is so you can describe it for us and readers?
When I was writing Ransom Canyon, it's about ranching, and Natalie has a ranch. Well, her husband does. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So I went out to her land and I walked it. I watched everything, and she'd call me and tell me what it was, you know. Hey, they're castrating cows today. Come on over and watch it. Whatever, that was gross. And but she just, I watched it, and her husband was very helpful in listening to a rancher, and you know, we went out there in that ATV, and what was it called? Four-wheel, yeah. He says, now, when you get out on this land, you're going to get lost. And if you get lost or you flip this thing, then go to a windmill. Because everywhere on her ranch, you can see a windmill. And I thought, that was cool. So I put that in every book. And I thought that was cool. And then he watched me start the thing and start off at like 5 miles an hour. And he said, don't worry about it. But one time we were standing on a rise and we were looking down and the cattle were going through and the cowboys were pushing them through. And I said, what does it feel like to own this land? It looks just like it did 200 years ago. And he said, I don't own it. I'm the caretaker. And I wish that I could get inside the brain of my characters and not that let me in, that one sentence. So, you know, it's nice. That book became Ransom Canyon. And as soon as they saw it, they wanted 7 more, so that's 7. And this is what the movie's going to be, Ransom. So, that was...
Kind of business, publishing business.
Yes.
I'm glad you held up that book. When did they go from that mass market size to this size, and why?
This
Do I
drives
have
me
any of those anymore? None of your books are published in that little mass market.
They are, but they come out and then they come out with the wacko size, which is a little bit wider. It's like,
it's wide.
yeah, that got fat, and it kind of looks funny. And then they come out with the tray like this.
So that's called a spray.
And then the hardback. And I published it, I think this one is in 18 countries. So they come in all sizes. But what we're talking about, you've got to walk the land. You've got to somehow get in, even if you're writing fantasy, get in that world.
I've got a question, maybe Linda wants to comment too, but I've tried a little bit. What do you think makes it challenging for a man to write romance?
We don't think like women. I don't know. One time I've written a lot of romances, and somebody came up to me and said, they said, you know, I love that love scene, but men don't think like that. And I just looked at him and said, yeah, but women wish they would. The funniest thing that ever happened at an autographing, I had a bunch of books on the table. It was like Christmas, and I was at a Barnes & Noble, and finally it was over, and I was standing up talking to my friends and fans that had come up, but the table was still there. And this cowboy walked up, and he was looking at all my books, and he said, I didn't realize Jodi Thomas had so many books. Wow. And so my friend, Phyllis, said, do you know, do you read Jodi Thomas? And he said, hell, I've been sleeping with her for 3 weeks. And my husband just stood there. He didn't even leave. And neither did any of my friends. And so I moved over and I said, hello, I am Jodi Thomas. And took off his hat, and he turned red all the way up to his forehead. And he said, well, my sister gave me 3 of your books, and I was in Italy, and I didn't want to go out, so I just read those books every night. Well, I knew he wouldn't sleep with me. I would have noticed. That was so funny. But it's not easy to be autographed, right? Linda?
Right. And then I think between the books, they go on the other side of the shelves and peek.
Right. That's the first time that happened was in a library. A woman was coming up behind me going like this, you know, and I looked the other way, and her friend was trying to get a picture with me. Come over here, you can have a picture. But it's kind of, but you need to get out and live the life.
You mentioned that you were in grad school and that's
Right.
Did you know that?
I had written bad poetry. I had written little short stories, and I was reading magazines, the Writer and Writer's Digest, and I was thinking about it, but not really. I was supposed to be taking notes, and I was writing a story. So that,
Well, some people are very hands-on and they're very controlling over their own work, and other people are not so much. What is your take on that? Do you give it to your editor and then do you check over everything, or do you just send it on in, or what do you do?
I check everything, yeah. And because I can't spell and our comments, I have a personal assistant that tells me to get up and go talk today. You know, so, and because I'm living in another world right now. As soon as I leave here, within 2 hours I'll be back in that world. And so she helps me keep up with everything. And then I have 2 graduate English that, and we all read it. We sit down, read it, and then they get in arguments about whether it should be a dash here or I'll let them argue. And then when I send it in, I read a final edit of it. They don't change much except grammar and stuff.
You have projected a publication date for Rare yet, or is it just still going to be somewhere out there?
I'm hoping that this series will be out in the summer, and I'm hoping to get it as soon as the first series is over, then I'd like to get it in the fall. I have 3 houses that are interested in it, and I've worked with all 3 of them. They're real nice and easy to work with. So that's my agent's problem. She's going to figure it out.
Talk about the Netflix process. How did you get through all that? And have you gone out to the site to see where they're filming and all that?
It wasn't much as for 14 years I've taught a summer class on writing. And the first year, Celia Bonaducci was in my class. And she's one of the Bonaducci's of Hollywood. Her parents wrote the Big Bad Night Show and a whole bunch of sitcoms. And so she wanted to be a writer. She came to me and I taught her to write. I think she got 8 books out now. And so she's also produces tiny houses and love it, and hate it, whatever, those kind of things. Yeah, that's it. And so she would she'd work for 2 weeks and she'd come home and write. And so I kind of kept up with her. And we're all adults here, okay. So one New Year's Day, I opened my screen and my email, first one said, shit, I need a favor. And I said, shit, okay. And so she said, I want you to write a short story. I'm going to write a short story. We're going to put it in the same book like that one did. And then I'll be a New York Times bestseller. Sure, that's that easy. And so we worked and we brought in Ann Hawkins, who taught at Tech for a while. And we had fun every Saturday or Sunday. We would sit down and talk about our stories. And then they came out. And when they came out, she was one of those kids that their parents worked on set, and the kids went to school. And so she went to school with people in LA that their parents were actors. And one of them was Dan Angel, and his parents were. I don't know what they did, but they worked in the shows. And so they were friends. So these friends that grew up together in the school met once a month. And long story, but so they were meeting, having lunch, and she was showing them all that she published a book. You know, her name was real little, and but Jodi Thomas was pretty big, and they were all happy. And Dan just pushed it aside and went on with eating lunch. These 2, bless their hearts, 2 little ladies came by, grabbed the books and said, Jodi has another book out, and they went crazy. And I didn't pay them. I didn't know them. And I said, and Dan said, who the hell is Jodi Thomas? And so he's told him. And that's when he called and introduced himself. He said, this is only the second time he actually bought the rights for my entire list. And the reason he did that is he didn't want someone else looking or trying to make a halfway movie out of something. And Ransom Canyon isn't all that's in the works, but it's all right. And other things are working. Even yeah.
Because of your books, he's got the rights to it?
Yes, for 15, he has to renew them every 18 months.
Sure, but still.
Yeah, and like I've got one that I wrote about Finding Mary Blaine that was about a woman who went homeless in Austin to stay safe, and that's it's a lot of people's favorite book, and it's in the works someplace. But I'm old and I'm not going to live long enough. It'll be interesting. Yeah. And then I had to learn words like showrunner. Oh, what? That doesn't make sense. They hire somebody to do all the work. Then they leave. And so I talked to her, and we're working. And don't tell anybody. I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but if we can work the timeline that he has other projects. But it looks like my main character that is a rancher in Texas is maybe Matthew McConaughey. Before I say yes, he's got to knock on my door. But I don't have any complaint. I said, Dan, can I come see it? It's going to be filmed in Calgary, Canada. And I've never been there, but it's only 1,200 miles. And I said, can I see it? He said, we'll have a chair for you. And you'll love it 1 or 2 days, and then you'll never go back. But I plan to go. And I really don't, writers don't know what they do, and they're going to change a lot, and I'm going to have to be okay with it. Well, that's where Heartland, the series, it does not look like the Texas Panhandle at all. But that's Heartland was played. But there, I think it's supposed to be in Wyoming now. But it's like it was 1 month exactly since after my husband died that Dad called, and that's given me just something to think about. It's good, and it's also a lot of work because they're always calling saying, "Can you send us a synopsis of this book?" or "Can you describe how this character looks?" Well, I've got hundreds of characters. Yes, I always do. Yeah. And I said I want nothing to do with the casting, because I just know them as actors, and they may be great actors, but they may be terrible people, and they'll know that. And so, yeah.
How many episodes is it?
They're writing and we'll be producing 2, because if it goes like they saw, you don't have to check it 3 or 4 times. And once it goes, they won't have time to go through the whole process for the next series. So they have to have 2 series, 2 years ready.
So is that the first 2 books?
Yes, we're gonna do it in the book, like the books. So there'll be 8 seasons, unless I write another one. And we talked about that.
Season done?
Sure. Yeah. It's I've learned a lot, but now I am working harder than I've ever. Because I've got a series going. They want 2 books next year, and then I have this going, and they want another one of those. Try. Yeah. Okay. So as you go through the seasons of writing, as you go, the hardest part is that first season when you don't know you're any good. And the best thing you can do is enter as many contests as you can. And even if they just say, interesting read, then that's a pat on the back, and that helps. And send out your work. I know many writers, probably the best writer years ago that I knew. We took a class, And when she read, everybody was silent. She had created a wonderful world. And it was fairies, and it was beautiful, and everybody knew she was going to sell. And then the course was over, and I didn't see her again. And about 5 years later, I was in some little town signing books. And she came out and said hi. And she said, well, where are you headed next? And I said, Waco. And she said, oh, I live on a farm near there. Just stop and spend the night with me. And I said, okay. And so she lived in a trailer, and there was a little bitty room with a half bed, and the wall on one side was covered with notebooks. And I said, are these all your books? And she said, yes, I'm still writing. And I said, that's a lot. It was 20 books. And she was working at a nursing home cooking. And I said, you should send these off. And she said, I did once, and they said no. So I see a lot of that. People that work and work and work, and they're in timberline, and they stop. Or they just won't send it in. Yeah. So don't be that. Even if you think it's still terrible, send it in.
I have a question since you're discussing one with agents. Do you have any insight, or could you give any insight on the best way to approach agents? I have read everything they say one should do before they submit to an agent. But I wondered, with your success, how would you approach doing that?
The way to talk to an agent is easy. If possible, and they're touring it all and giving lectures, go to the lecture. Because if you walk up to them, you become a person. And then offer them something. Say, can I buy you a drink? Can I buy you breakfast? And almost every time they'll say yes. Or they'll apologize. And then they'll owe you a favor if they apologize. And you then see them again and say, have you got time for a Coke or something, you know.
What if you don't have that capability? You're trying to do it from your living room, submitting to agents. That's
hard because now it's so easy to write a letter and mail it to 100 agents. You know, they get way, way too much. So you're not a person to them here. I've had people work by sending them a Christmas card with your name on it. And then maybe in 6 months, how are you doing? I saw online that you won this award or whatever. You show them your name 4 or 5 times, they'll know it. And then write the letter and make it like a person to a person. And it really helps. Of course, you can just write it. If you win anything, if you win honorable mention, you write them enough. But pick your agent carefully. Yeah. Some of them are terrible, some of them are great. Yeah. And does that give you an idea?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Can we assume that you've had more than one agent over the years?
I have. My first agent never said anything out because it wasn't polished enough. I'd written for 5 years and I had 5 books. And so when I dropped her and said goodbye, I found another agent very fast. And she sold 5 books in 15 months. So I was ready, you know, but the other one didn't. And then she quit being an agent, and I had to find another one. And I was selling, and I asked my editor, and she said, actually, I'm pregnant and I'm going to quit. I'll be your agent. And she became an agent. And it was really nice because she'd been an editor for 20 years. But after 9/11, she said, I want to do something else. And so, yeah, it's worked out. We were talking last night. She said, we're in this together. Yeah. But just sending out a blank letter to who it concerns.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. But I haven't been in conferences to actually meet them physically in person. But I just didn't know if there was something when you had to write that letter to that agency, because you don't have connections, if there was anything that you do to get their attention.
If they have a website that shows what they're doing. I was sitting in England speaking to romantic writers of Great Britain or something. And they're so cool, they had tea in the hallway where you could sit down and have tea. And so I sat down. This lady sat down beside me, and she says, you know, are you here? And I said, yeah, I write this. And we were talking. And she said, I said, are you a writer? And she said, no, I'm an agent. Can I take you on? Just because I wasn't pushing, I was just telling her what I was. Thank you. Yeah. Make her personal. Make it personal. It worked. Y'all can bring an agent here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My editor is the editor-in-chief of Kensington. And if you wrote her, I'd come down and take care of her. She'd come. I wouldn't be surprised. That would be very cool. Yeah, because she just got a divorce. She wants to get out. You know, they have lives just like that. Sometimes I call my agent. She goes, I can't talk about 5 minutes. I got to get the kids back to school. There's several good ones. There's several. And people think they're hard to get. And they are. But they have to see you as a person. Because they're gonna tie on to the person, not just your work. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have a question? And I wanted to be totally honest and try to, because there are a lot of people out there that don't know what's going on, but they're talking about it and they think it's happening. The self-publishing, small publishing is going crazy right now, and it's getting better and better. I wouldn't be surprised if 20 years from now there's not any New York editors. I wouldn't be surprised. You agree, Linda?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Jodi. That is amazing to hear all of your story, your humble beginnings, and your tremendous successes. Let's give her another round of applause. We are very honored to have you be part of our group, and appreciate you coming down. You're welcome back whenever you would like to come. We are going to lunch at Yo-Yo, which is the corner of Slide and 82nd. There is a tropical smoothie there. It's kind of near the mall, so please join us. Mathis, have you called them to warn them? We've got maybe a good crowd coming, so excited to talk to you all there. Do not forget our ugly sweater mystery party next month, December 10th at 10 a.m. right here. Should be a lot of fun. Bring your wrapped book. If you're not sure what the heck we're talking about, we'll put it in the newsletter, so make sure you open that up. Also, Kim, did you want to do the sharing celebration?
Oh, yeah. Who has celebrations? Who has celebrations to share?
I have one. I'll start. I have 3 books out, and I just slammed them all into one giant ebook for a holiday special. So it's about to be published, the Stealing Time series. So I'm excited to have something new out there.
Natalie, of course, her gold medal for the Will Rogers. That's very exciting. Who else?
I published a collection of PI stories set in Texas last week. PI stories set in Texas Gumshoes.
Texas
Not a
Gumshoes.
limited edition yet, but it's a neat
That's
book.
excellent. So we can get it on Amazon or?
It's up on Amazon and some other venues.
Is it under your name?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Keith, what is your last name?
West.
Keith West. Awesome, congratulations. Miss Kim.
I have 2 poems being published in Fall Lines, which is a publication out of Columbia, South Carolina.
That's exciting. Fall Lines?
Fall Lines.
Excellent. Congratulations. Anybody else? Okay, well, excellent. And again, it's Christmas sweaters. I just like, as we were sitting here, I got a text from a resale shop about their Christmas attire was on sale. So anyway, go to Goodwill or something and get another Christmas sweater and join us next month. Or make your own. All right. Well, thank y'all, and we will see y'all next month.